Okay, Jim?
First, I apologize. I did have some remarks, and my computer is not cooperating. So I quickly made some notes, and it's more just to add some things to the conversation. So some observations, but also some opinions. First, just from my standpoint, I'm not terribly concerned about the cost of one option over the other. And yes, we could say, you know, there's more opportunity for grant funding with removal, but I feel that all the costs are manageable. So cost is not a consideration for me. I will say doing nothing has a big cost, and it's an undefined cost and an undefined liability, but that's not what we're considering here. I just want to make the observation that in the research that, you know, I've been doing in a number of different areas over the past couple months, it's interesting when we look at the near-term history of the pond, and it was interesting to me to look at annual reports going back to 1980, where they were dealing with the exact same issues that we are today. In fact, in 1984, they had a mill pond study committee that was trying to work on issues associated with the mill pond, the eutrophication of it, all sorts of things. They put a lot of effort to it. They were applauded, and the solution that they came up with, and the only recommendation they could make, was to do dredging. So it's kind of like back to the future. I have heard some comments about VHB. I respect those comments. I do think that VHB's work for the town has been very good. But I note though, before they started presenting to us the options to narrow down, there was a general assumption, and I had it too, that the cost of retaining the dam would be upwards of $4 or $5 million, because the only thing you could do was to essentially replace it. And VHB is really the group that came up with the concept of stabilizing the dam for far less cost. And I just make that observation because clearly if there was some bias that they wanted to remove the dam, I think that option wouldn't have been brought forward, and we wouldn't have had to have done the supplemental study so that we could look at other iterations without the assumption that it was a $4 or $5 million problem. I do want to say I think the science is sound, particularly from an environmental standpoint, but I don't believe, and I don't really think that any of us believe, that dam removal or leaving the dam line, either one, is a panacea for the anadromous fish and fish runs. And so that to me was important to validate, but it certainly didn't weigh over the other community concerns. I'm almost done.
Take your time, Jim.
I'll say that you know, the dam for me has been an 11-year project. I've been on the council for 11 years. In those 11 years, we've had 8 different studies. And that doesn't include the 2 studies that were in 2008 before I came on. But I've been particularly interested in the Amberson Dam, the design. And in fact, I think I represented the council in 2013 to speak at the 100th anniversary of the dam, because I feel it is really significant. And I say that I'm not as qualified as in history as so many people in our community are, but it gives me great pain to think of taking this marvel of engineering that allowed Niles Amberson to grow a huge company for decades, this marvel of engineering, and encase it in concrete. I just cannot get comfortable with that. And I, for one, am more comfortable with the idea of removing the dam and being able to preserve key aspects of it so future generations can understand it, and maybe somebody, is enthralled with it as I am, who's younger and decides to become, a civil engineer. I don't know. But if I encase the dam, everything that I thought was unique is lost, because it's no longer an Amberson Dam. It's a gravity dam. So if you remove the dam, there are going to be challenges. There are long-term challenges, but I think that they're challenges that can be managed. But I will tell you that for 40 years, we've been trying to manage the challenges of water quality in the pond, and we haven't been successful. That's my input.
Thank you.